to the meat of it, right? Everybody's been waiting for it. I hope it's valuable for you, whatever I have put together today. I heard a lot of people talking about AI. It's like an intern. And the way I am defining it here is, AI is like a chef, right? You provide the chef with right ingredients, right recipe, and it creates a dish for you. So that's how AI works. If you provide it right data, which is the ingredients, right recipe, which is the prompt, and we are going to talk about it, the context, it's going to give you a great output. And the chef itself is the model that takes in that data, that takes in that context, and gives you the output. That's AI in plain English. I'm also going to cover some very basic terms. I know there are people who are they are running with AI, but some are just learning. So it's a brief introduction of basic terms in AI. Machine learning, anybody has heard of it? These are some of the terms that get thrown away: generative AI, machine learning. So as you said, Butch, it's a person who has a very high IQ, right? So how do you get high IQ? They probably learned a lot. They took in a lot of data, read a lot. That's how machine learning models work. They take in a lot of data, they are fed a lot of information, and based off of that information, it predicts something, right? It comes up with something. And generative AI is basically an enhanced version. Think of it as a friend who has read a lot of books, right? He has read so many books, now it can create its own book. That's generative AI. It will take in information, but then it will produce something new for you. It could be a new summary, new email, code, images, based off of whatever it has learned from the data that we have given. So any examples you can think of, machine learning or generative AI, we are already using it even before this buzzword came in. So machine learning, spam filters, your antiviruses, they already were learning, detecting patterns, and giving you the results. Generative AI is an enhanced version where it's basically bringing in and creating something new like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, or that is generative AI. And I always like to get into the fundamentals. It just makes things easier to understand, right? So what do these models rely on? What's the basic fundamental thing? It's the LLM, which is called the large language model. If you go back to the analogy of the chef, this is the chef, right? This is the model that's running all the computations, predicting all the analysis. It's like neural network in your brain. So as you learn something, new neural networks are created in your brain. That's how it happens with large language models. As you keep feeding it, it keeps learning on and on. And this is the base of all the tools that you see out there. ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, all have different kind of LLM models. So LLMs can be different types, right? There are language models, vision models, audio models, and several others. There are multi-model LLMs also, which can do a lot of things, right? So some examples of language, which basically takes the text in, gives the text out, is ChatGPT. Vision models are basically they take in the text, give you images, and then we have audio models. They take text, they will give you audio. So based on your use case, you can use different type of LLM. It's like if you go to a specialized doctor for a specialized thing, right? You go to physician, he can treat you for everything, but if you go to a specialized doctor, he's going to treat you for specific thing. So that's how we choose LLM models. All right, let's play a small game. Can you tell me which out of this is AI generated and which is a real image. This is pretty easy, I guess. So I think it's missing A and B, but which image do you think is AI generated? This one was easy, right? Too perfect. How about this? The thing is that AI is generating things that look and sound so real. One more thing I want to show you, and tell me whether this is a real conversation or it's AI. I think the sound will play.
Opening up an AI chatbot right now, it feels exactly like sitting in front of a blank canvas with a giant box of paints. I mean, you know it has the potential to create a masterpiece for you, but if you just start throwing colors around, you usually end up with a blurry, confusing mess.
Yeah, totally. And since anyone tuning into this deep dive already knows that vague prompts yield terrible results, well, the real question is how we structure our requests. Like, how do we get exactly what we need every single time without all that frustrating trial and error?
Exactly.
What do you think?
And that is why we're looking at a quick reference guide.
I think it's AI.
It's AI. There's no like inflection of the voice. It's all monotone. It's
Right.
you don't like hear them breathe or
Yeah.
take a second to pause. So it just you hear that quick. Like, that's AI.
Okay. And you're right. I created it using Notebook LLM. It's called Gemini Notebook. But the sheet that you have, that's what I gave it, and it created this sort of a podcast for me where two people are talking, and it was so easy, simple. Like it took me 2 minutes just to upload that, and you can create a video out of it. I didn't go to that extent. I was like, I don't want to bore you guys, but it's very simple to, if you have, and again, Linda, you were asking me how do I know which tools to use. The more you learn about the tools, like I really love Gemini Notebook. If you have huge documents and you want to get summaries out of it, and you don't want to read those, you want to make a podcast, just feed it to the tool, it'll make a podcast, you can listen it while you're in the car or watch the video. So that's one of my favorite tools. Anybody here has used it? Have you used this tool? No? All right.
But we will now.
Yeah. And some of the common tools that you hear about, and this might help you a bit. So you have to really understand what are you trying to solve. And the way we implemented it in our business is understanding our workflows. What were some of the repetitive tasks that we were doing every single day, right? And that's how we determined. And I'm going to talk about some of the workflows that we implemented. So general assistance, ChatGPT, Gemini, where you want to summarize your emails, you want to send emails or rephrase emails, you can use ChatGPT, Gemini. Office assistants, Microsoft Copilot, Gemini for workspace. So if you want to build something based off of your Microsoft suite or Gemini, like you want to read your documents and have something linked to your SharePoint, and there are so many workflows you can build using these office assistant tools like Copilot. We need to discuss more. So how would you feel if you had a tool that has not all, but around 60 LLMs in one tool, one-stop shop? Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, and much more. And you can have snappy ChatGPT and then compare it with Claude or compare it with Gemini and tell it, hey, this is what you said and this is what this guy is saying, but all in one tool. This is what we use, Hats AI, in our space. The reason I love this tool, not just it has all the LLMs in one place, and I don't have to have 100 different accounts. It's SOC 2 compliant. it's not sharing my data with the models to train them, right? And that's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about my clients, my data that I'm sharing with all these tools out there, right? And other important things that I love about this tool is the integrations that I can do with other tools. Because the real power of AI is not just in rephrasing and summarizing, but automating your workflows. So that's what this tool helps me with. I can build agents, I can build workflows, and I simply love it. And I want to show you a quick demo of the tool, so let me do that. So this is HADS AI, and these are several different tool models that you can pick from. Can you see that? Yeah. And not just that, if you're not sure which model should I use for the prompt that I just put in, it can auto-select it for you. If you see the auto model selection, based on what you are asking it, it will see what's the best model. So Linda, going to your point, you don't know what is the best, which model should I use? You tell it, and it's going to select the right type of LLM for you. And then it can integrate with tools. So you can have Python. If you're trying to work with a lot of Excel, numbers, you can integrate with that. It also has this term MCP, it's kind of API, agents talking to agents. You can do that. Perplexity is there, Firecrawl, and lots of other tools. Microsoft that you can have in here. You can connect while you are giving it the prompt. And it can, which to your point, you were saying you wanted to remember things about you. You can turn the memory on or off based on if you wanted to remember the context or you don't want. So that's HADS. And going back to our presentation, and if we go back to the analogy that we were discussing, the chef, if you give the chef a very confusing recipe and data that is, or the ingredients that are incomplete, what kind of a dish would you get, right? So that's the power of prompt. You need to have a very clear and defined prompt in order for AI to give you good results, right? So here is an example. If I tell any of the models, write a marketing email, right? It's just going to give me some vague response. But if I tell it, act as a local marketing advisor and give it some context, draft 150 email to a small business about 3-year workshop, the more context I give it, the better results it's going to produce for me. To get better results from AI, craft your prompt. So it means context, role, action, format, and tone. So role is, what do you want it to act like, right? Like act like a financial advisor, act like a school teacher, or what do you want it to act like? So you start with that, give it the role, define what action you want it to do. Do you want it to write an email, right? Or you want it to produce a Word doc? And then format, what kind of output you want from it. And important thing is to give it the tone. Like a lot of time I use, give me a client-friendly tone. And then limit the number of words, 150, 300, because ChatGPT or any other model has a habit of giving you a large amount of output. So you limit it to certain length. Created another prompt just as, I was thinking we are going to do a practice. If anybody wants to do a practice, happy to do that. we have our tool here. We can practice a prompt if you like, but this is one of the prompts. If you want to give a prompt, you have to give it in a structured format so that it can give you a good output. And then I also saw, so I was thinking of what all should I share with you so that it becomes more interesting. I saw that Chester Chamber sends emails every Sunday. So I was thinking, all right, so maybe it is automated already, but what can I share with everybody so that they can think of things that they can automate in their business? If there's something that you repeatedly do, for example, I am sending some monthly emails to my clients and I'm thinking of automating. This is one of the ways to automate, right? This particular prompt that I wrote in the tool, it's a scheduled workflow or a trigger that runs 8 a.m. every Monday morning. It goes to Chester Chamber, gets the list of all the events for the month, like I asked it to give me for the current month, and it's going to send the emails to all the clients in Chester Chamber. So some of the things that you can do to automate, it's again not replacing anybody, it is making you efficient, and the mundane and boring tasks that you do every day can help you with that. So let me show you how I created it. So within my favorite tool, Hats AI, I scheduled a workflow, weekly member events, and it actually ran 2 days back. It ran on August 3rd, and it created the list of events. So it just created, and this is just a raw data. It created your Chester Chamber weekly recap, an email with all the events. So some of the things that you could do with the tools and with. Another thing about prompts. So think of prompts as you're trying to teach an intern that comes to your business. You're teaching that intern and you ask him to do a task. If you tell it, okay, write an email to the client, what do you think the questions that intern is going to ask you? Right? The more questions intern asks, the better job it's going to do. So same way prompts work. Whenever you write prompts, you can always mention that ask me 5 questions or 3 questions before you give me the answer, so that you are forcing it to feed more data to you. Right? It's some of the ways to make the prompts more efficient. And ask it, give it what sort of output you want, whether you want Word doc, Excel, the format that we spoke about. And you can always ask it to make it concise, limited, and always check the work, as was mentioned. You cannot rely on AI solely. Humans have to be the last checkpoint before the work is sent to anybody or is used by anybody. So agents are like the work order that you give to your trained digital assistant. So think of AI agents as somebody who is trained to do something. They know their role, but they know the rules of your company also. So they won't go beyond the rules of your company. So you give it the information that don't go beyond this. You tell it about your company and you define its role. So maybe an office admin, and you tell it that Chester Chamber. You tell it about Chester Chamber and ask it, just give me information just around this. So that's what agents do. All right, now we'll get into some safety and governance rules for AI. I feel that this is the main thing that we have to be really concerned about. This is the part that is scary for the businesses. Putting in information that is confidential, proprietary into free tools, and not knowing that, how it can impact the companies. That's why we need to have guardrails and train the employees which tools to use and um, have those standards in place where the employees know that they cannot use free tools and put in company information. They might think that it's harmless, but it is pretty harmful. So as business owners, it's our responsibility to take charge of that. And again, verify all the facts, numbers, and have approvals before anything important like wire transfers or sending your money out to anybody is being done. You should have a verification and human checkpoint there. So before you use any tools, what is recommended? And before you use Copilot also, I think, Tom, you mentioned you've tried using Copilot.
I've tried them all.
You've tried them all.
Yeah.
So what's recommended is before you roll it out to your company or your whole business, segregate the data into buckets: public, confidential, and regulated. That way, people who don't need to have access to confidential and regulated data, they can be separated out. So this is like, AI is powerful, but then we have to take the responsibility of feeding it the right data. And we got to do this cleanup before we roll out the tools out to our employees.